Karoline Leavitt is back, and she's not holding back. From dismantling a smug French politician, who quickly remembered why he doesn't dabble in German debates, to leaving Jeff Bezos visibly rattled, every moment is pure gold. This isn't just commentary, it's a masterclass in confidence. And trust us, you won't want to miss a second. Buckle up, because what you're about to witness is nothing short of legendary.
There is now a member of the European Parliament from France who does not think the U.S. represents the values of the Statue of Liberty anymore. They want the Statue of Liberty back. So is President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So they should be very grateful to our great country.
This is hilarious and painfully ironic. A French politician demanding the return of the Statue of Liberty, somehow forgetting one tiny detail. It was a gift from the French people. And his party? They represent just 14% of them, according to the latest EU Parliament election. So technically, he's not even speaking for the majority who gave the gift in the first place. But here's the kicker. It's a left-wing politician making the demand, as if that side of the aisle still holds the global torch for freedom. You really can't make this stuff up.
Former President Biden, he's set to deliver his first major speech since leaving office tonight. I wanted to get the president's response, or if he plans to respond to this, and comments on what Democrats are calling cuts to Social Security.
My first reaction when seeing former President Biden was speaking tonight was I'm shocked that he is speaking at nighttime. I thought his bedtime was much earlier than his speech tonight. I understand the topic of his speech will be Social Security. Let me make it very clear ahead of former President Biden's remarks. President Trump, is absolutely certain about protecting Social Security benefits for law-abiding, tax-paying American citizens and seniors who have paid into this program.
Honestly, I still can't wrap my head around why Biden thought giving that speech was a good idea. Public speaking hasn't exactly been his strength throughout his presidency, and this latest attempt only reinforced that. From the moment he stepped up to the podium, it was a train wreck in slow motion, mumbling through half-finished sentences, veering wildly off topic, and leaving the audience collectively scratching their heads, wondering what point, if any, he was trying to make. It wasn't just awkward, it was uncomfortable. But just when you think political theater couldn't get more surreal, enter Karoline Leavitt. Because while Biden was fumbling through prepared remarks, Karoline was out there delivering knockout blows in real time. Her shutdown of Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz after their latest round of eyebrow-raising comments? Absolutely brutal and absolutely brilliant. She didn't just call them out. She dismantled their talking points with clarity, confidence, and a level of composure that made the contrast with Biden's meandering speech even more glaring. It's moments like these that remind you why Karoline continues to be a rising force and why the others keep scrambling to catch up.
Tim Walz, Governor Walz, saying last night he frequently checks Tesla stock, in doing so to, quote, give me a little boost during the day. How should Americans view politicians who take pride in the downfall of an American car company?
I think that's quite sad, but I think Governor Walz unfortunately is living a sad existence after his devastating defeat on November 5th.
Exactly. When your political opponents are people like Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, the smartest strategy isn't to argue, it's to just hand them a microphone and get out of the way. No rebuttal needed. Because every time they speak, they manage to do what entire campaigns struggle to pull off. They expose their own incompetence in real time. Whether it's Kamala's infamous word salads or Tim Walz's head-scratching takes that seem pulled from an alternate reality, you don't need spin or strategy, you just need patience. Let them talk, let them ramble. Let the public watch and wonder how these people ended up with so much power and so little clarity. It's like watching a slow-motion implosion, and the best part? You don't have to lift a finger. Just sit back and let the mic do the work.
Well, I think it was a great reminder to the American people of just how blessed we all are that the leader sitting in the Oval Office today is President Donald Trump and not President Kamala Harris.
Just to add on the Kamala Harris point, I think I speak for everyone at the White House. We encourage Kamala Harris to continue going out and do speaking engagements.
Oh, and by the way, quick reminder, I've noticed you haven't liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet. So, what are you waiting for? Hit those buttons. It helps more than you know, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's talk about Tim Walz. Remember when the media was falling all over themselves to promote him during his latest town hall tour? They were hyping him up like he was the next big thing. A fresh, democratic voice with mainstream appeal. But flash forward just a few months, and crickets. After a string of missteps and awkward performances, those same outlets that once couldn't get enough of him have basically ghosted the guy. It's almost like they realized the product they were selling didn't quite live up to the packaging. And while that unfolds stateside, across the pond, the UK government is facing its own heat. This time thanks to Winston Marshall, who's not holding back. He recently called out the growing attacks on free speech in Britain, and let's just say it struck a nerve. When artists and musicians start sounding more like truth-tellers than politicians, you know something's gone seriously off track. So stick around, because between the political gaffes, media spin, and the growing backlash to censorship, we're just getting started, and you'll want a front-row seat for all of it.
In Britain, we have had over a quarter of a million people issued non-crime hate incidents. As we speak, there are people in prison for quite literally reposting memes. Would the Trump administration consider political asylum for British citizens in such a situation?
Well, to your latter question, it's a very good one. I have not heard that proposed to the president, nor have I spoken to him about that idea, but I certainly can and talk to our national security team and see if it's something the administration would entertain.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. This moment didn't just happen out of the blue. It took place during a White House press briefing that was specifically organized for new media outlets. That's why, if you were watching closely, you probably noticed a lot of unfamiliar faces in the press pool. It wasn't the usual lineup of legacy media darlings nodding along and lobbing softball questions. And here's the kicker. The issue being discussed wasn't some breaking development or brand new controversy. It was a problem that had been festering for months. Everyone in the room knew it. But for all that time, the mainstream media conveniently avoided it, pretending it either didn't exist or wasn't worth their precious airtime. Then suddenly, a voice from outside the bubble brings it up, asks the hard question, and just like that, it finally gets traction. That single moment tells you everything you need to know about how the mainstream media operates. It's not about truth, it's about narrative control, and unless the story fits their script, it doesn't make the cut. That's why these new voices are so important. Because sometimes, all it takes is one outsider to break the silence and remind everyone what real journalism actually looks like.
To your first question about free speech in the United Kingdom, the Vice President has been incredibly outspoken about this for good reason. And the President has spoken about this as well, directly with your Prime Minister when he was here for a visit to the White House. So it remains a critical endeavor of ours to show the Brits and your country, which we love and admire, about the First Amendment and the importance of free speech in a sovereign nation.
Jeff Bezos also got some public scolding from Karoline, and the way she called him out is simply amazing.
This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to shore up our own critical supply chain and boost our own manufacturing here.
Now here's the part that's flying under the radar, but it's a game changer. Some are pointing out how this move actually helps Amazon users figure out which products are made outside the US. In other words, it indirectly promotes American-made alternatives without even needing a sales pitch. Pretty clever, right? But just imagine if this happened under Trump. The mainstream media would have lit their hair on fire. You'd see a non-stop flood of headlines like "Trump tariffs cripple working families" or "Economic doomsday on the horizon." You know the drill: panic, outrage, repeat. That's why this moment is so satisfying. Karoline didn't just take a tough question, she turned it into an opportunity. And she didn't just hold her ground, she put Jeff Bezos in his place without breaking a sweat. It was cool, confident, and completely unbothered. And to top it all off, we're ending with a jaw-dropper. MSNBC's very own Joy Reid 2.0 just got exposed again for blatant racism. And yes, it happened during another White House press briefing geared toward the new media. Because apparently, when the legacy press steps aside, the truth starts getting a little too real for comfort. So yeah, don't touch that dial. This is only getting better.
And it is racist what she is saying. The president intends on deporting illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws and are not only impacting communities across the country, but in particular communities of color in our inner cities. You remember the story out of New York City where young minority children were kicked out of their public school to make room for illegal immigrants to sleep on the floor of their cafeteria. That is putting America last. Doesn't matter your race, your religion, or creed. If you are a law-abiding American citizen, President Trump is going to put you first. And shame on Simone Sanders for saying that.
I'll be honest, it's beyond me why MSNBC thought this was a smart move. They fired Joy Reid, supposedly to tone things down after years of divisive, over-the-top commentary, and then handed airtime to Simone Sanders. Really? It's like they swapped one outrage machine for another and expected a completely different outcome. If the goal was to rebuild trust or appeal to a broader audience, this wasn't just a swing and a miss. It was a strikeout with the bat still on their shoulder. Instead of recalibrating, they've just repackaged the same hyper-partisan energy with a slightly different face, and viewers can see right through it. It's not about honest dialogue or balanced reporting, it's just more of the same noise, dressed up like something new. But hey, maybe that's just my take. I want to hear yours, so drop a comment below and let me know what you think. And if you've been enjoying these takedowns as much as I have, share this video with a friend or two. It seriously helps get the word out, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.